in this computer. All right, share my screen again. So I had the, I was fortunate that when we owned our own company, we used skyslope. And so I basically had at least 10 years of experience working with it. So I still learn stuff on it. So and they're always upgrading it, but I just want to show you guys ways that can make your life easier and get things done more quickly and save time. So we're going to go ahead and just start with digi sign. And I'm going to open a second tab here, which is going to be my NJAR forms. Because last week we created our contract in zip forms. Let's see, log down to online forms. And then transactions will go to, I'll go to this last one I created. All right, so it's kind of filled out. I just noticed here that one of these isn't checked, so I'm going to go ahead and check that and save it. Actually, no, I'm going to uncheck it and save it so I can show you guys how you can correct it. All right, so this is saved. I'm going to download this form. Download. Now, if you want to download multiple documents, you could. The wire fraud's already part of the contract, so I don't need to download that. I guess I should have also downloaded the consumer information statement, so I'll go ahead and download that as well. Click to download. All right, so now I'm going to go to my documents.
So John, this is through the digi sign, or this is through the NJ Realtor that we all have part of it?
So right now, this is where our contracts are in zip forms, the NJAR Realtor. I don't use the contracts in DigiSign because they're not fillable. But for the signature part, it's super easy. So now that I downloaded those, I'll show you how that works.
Okay, thanks.
So downloads. So I downloaded these two documents. I'm going to copy them and then just put them in my Dropbox folder so I can find them. And I probably have a test folder here, QRST. Now we'll go ahead and create one. Training. Excuse me.
I believe your screen may not be updated with sharing.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just going to go ahead and paste. You just need to save a folder once you download those documents. Just save them to a folder on your computer, or you can leave them in your downloads if you want to do that too. You don't have to move them. I just like to not keep anything on my computer. I like to keep it in a cloud, just in case it crashes, or I'm away from my computer for some reason and I need to access it. Where did my training go? Maybe it's here. There we go. So I'm just going to paste these really quick. Paste. All right, so now I'm going to get back to my screen. So you guys can see my my transaction screen in skyslope, where it says transactions, listings, and DigiSign.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and create a new envelope. Now, if this was a contract on one of my listings and I wanted my seller to sign it, I would select a property, but I'm doing this as a buyer's agent where I don't have a file created yet. So I'm just going to select no property. Now there's several documents that you'd want to get signed, but I'm going to show you guys how to use a template. And unless they've changed it, you kind of have to do it, unfortunately, this way. Contract of sale. So I've uploaded just the contract of sale for now. I'm going to choose a template. And I have sales contract August 2022. And I'm going to actually use this one, sales contract 430, just to make sure that it's the right one, because I have a couple. I'm going to click apply template and hit done. So what this does is it sets it up that there's a purchaser that's going to sign it, and then the agent, myself, would sign it, and then the agent on the other side will automatically get a copy once it's signed by your client.
This is just like a DocuSign we used to use, right?
I've never used DocuSign, so can anybody else answer that question?
Colleen probably used.
Yes, I use it. I'm sorry, I didn't hear the question. Can you please repeat?
This is like a DocuSign then. One sign, second sign, it goes to the third one,
Yes, yes,
right?
that's right. You used it a little bit, DePaula, you remember.
Yes, yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and hit. Now, when you guys go and log in and you try to, I'm going to go ahead and remove template, remove this one. When you log in, you won't have all these templates available. You'll have ones that Jeffrey Kist created probably, and that will be it. So I've created my own over time, and some of these aren't any good because the contract changed. So I should probably go through and remove some of these, but I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to choose the one I believe that this with wire fraud. I'll choose that one. Apply template, see if that one's any different. Done. So this one's got 3 purchasers and the listing agent as a signer, and it has no one receiving a copy. So this is what you guys would probably get when you choose a template. So I'm just going to go ahead and add a few people in here. Let's see. I'll go ahead and add Miles as a signer, and I'm going to go ahead and add, let's see if I have Eric in here. No, so I'll do, what's his name? I'll do Perry. So if you've used this before and you've used the same person before, sometimes if you start typing their name, it'll populate. If it doesn't, like for instance, if you sent a seller contracts before and you're adding the seller's info and it doesn't populate, you just click on add recipient, then you start typing it and it'll populate in there for you. I don't know why it doesn't recognize it from this field. And then I'm going to go ahead and uncheck one of these because I only have 2 signers. So it removes recipient. And then now I want, let's say, after it's signed, you want the other agent to receive a copy. So I'm going to go ahead and add, let's see, I'll add Jennifer on here. There she is. She's the agent on the other side. So I'm going to select agent on the other side. And I'm going to change this to receive a copy. So I'm going to save that. So after these 3 people sign the document, then the listing agent, Jennifer, would get a copy, and it just takes you out of the loop and it moves things along. You'll get a notification that it was signed. And then I always just text the listing agent and say, hey, just making sure you got a copy of the signed contract, you know, because you don't want to assume anything, especially if you're, you know, in this market where you don't want to lose out. But since I selected purchasers and I selected a listing agent, so these are all the people that have to sign. Their information is here. The selling agent. So see this prepared by here. Normally that's probably yourself, but I'm going to say in this case that I prepared this document. So now this is a fillable field. And I'm sorry, what I did here is I clicked on writable and I just clicked here and I added my name. And then you want to make sure you change this field to yourself, because then no one else can edit this. If I were to leave this as the purchaser's info, they could fill in whatever they wanted there. And it's really sensitive when you click everywhere. But you'll see here on the bottom of each page, the buyer's initials appear where they're supposed to because I chose a template. That's close enough. So I always just verify and I kind of look at certain fields to make sure everything that I added is in this document. And I'll go back to the very top page and show you what I missed. For some reason, these templates are a little off. So if you have ADD, you'll probably move them back into place like I do sometimes. I have select ADD, it's not every time. And there we go.
It's funny you saying that because of you. I have the same thing, so I now have to perfectly align them. I end up with like carpal tunnel, but it's because you taught me and you did that I'm so like. And I had never had that contract where I had 6 buyers, and I had to get them all like perfectly aligned. So thank you for that, John.
Yep. See, for some reason, this template, it's got these signature spots here for some reason. So I'm going to delete them. So I would just go ahead and upload a sales contract into this and choose the template to see if everything's lined up for you properly. If not, you can create your own template. Like this should be over here. This should be here. This should be here. This should be here. And then the wire fraud. So this is missing the wire fraud stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and add this. We have the buyer, we have Miles Harper. So what I did was I clicked on signature and it's got a white box around it. And then I just click here and then that's where it's going to be. I can change the name of the second signer. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. That's going to be Perry. Now I'm going to add the date and time signed. So I'm going to do that for Perry. Do that for Miles. And that's all done. Oops, I think I see a page here. And then we missed the initials here on this one because this template is no good. So I'm going to make sure I go back and delete this template because it doesn't meet the new contract guidelines pages. I think there's more pages in this contract than there was the last. Okay, so now I see it's initialed. Other things here are the front page, the opinion 26 as it's called. we're missing both the buyer and the seller. That's who we're representing here. So you can add a checkbox. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Change it to my name or Joe's name as the agent. Click the box. So now that field is locked in. So if this template was set up correctly, I wouldn't have had to add any initials or signatures or those dates or this prepared by. It would have all been filled in automatically. So you can create a template from a sales contract that will put the signatures and dates everywhere you want them. And I can show you guys how to do that later in this. So now I'm going to go back. Once I've used the template, I'm going to upload the other documents. So I would need a consumer information statement. Let me go ahead and upload. Let's see, what else do I have here? What was the last deal I did? A little bit of Perry. Where is it? Farhat. So I always upload a copy of the MLS report, a copy of their pre-approval. This is a dual agent, so informed consent to dual agency, lead-based paint, lead-based paint booklet, the seller property disclosure, and if I were doing an escalation clause, I would upload that as well. We'll just go ahead and upload it. And click open. So then what I do here is I put them in the order that I want the buyer to see them. And the first document that they should always need to see is the consumer information statement. And there's, oh, let's see, move this. Informed consent to dual agency will be my, okay, drag it up. Drag it up. And so consumer information statement, the informed consent to dual agency, if we're representing both sides of the deal, or not if we are, if our company is. Next up, I would throw in the approval. You can pretty much put these in any order that you want, but you should do the consumer information statement and informed consent to dual agency first. And then I would have, so the sales contract needs to go way up. And then I want the, what did I see down here? The GSMLS report, I'm going to put that before the sales contract. And I'm going to throw the escalation clause up here higher. And the order that these documents are in, they'll be locked in this order. So if there's something that you want the seller to see or the listing agent to see, put it towards the top. And then I'm going to go ahead and hit next. So everything is locked in here from when we used our template. So here's the consumer information statement. So I'm going to have the buyers sign it. So I'll just drop a signature here, change the name to buyer 1. Click here. Make sure that I have a box checked for consumer information statement. So this is kind of wonky here. You have these little blue bars. You got to kind of make sure you have access to the inward one to move through the document. I'm just going to do date signed. And you don't have to have both dates, just one date for everybody. This is the informed consent to dual agency. So again, you just drop a signature. We have Perry, and I'm going to just change this to Miles. And then I have the salesperson signature. And then we'll just have it dated. The next document that will be in your package, this is pre-approval. I always just have my clients either initial or sign it, just because if anything was done to the document, their client, it's been signed and it wasn't done by you. Let's see. And that, oops. There's that little blue bar I need again. I always include the MLS sheet because it lists what's included and what's not included if there's any exclusions. So I always keep this as part of the contract. And again, I have my buyers sign it, so there's no confusion. You might see things in here like the American Home Warranty included. So you know, that's in this MLS sheet. If you didn't write it in the contract, it becomes part of the contract because I always write per MLS number and I include a copy of this sheet. Here's the contract that we used the template on. So all the initials are in the spots where they're supposed to be. And I would kind of, you know, go through it and make sure you didn't miss anything. Like, let's say you've gone through it and you realize you didn't put your commission in here. This is where you could add it. You could write your commission and the MLS fee. If the other agent says, hey, can you do me a favor and put my commission in the contract? You could do that, you know, right here. You can put it in. And if I'm the listing agent and I'm sending it to my seller for signature, I add my commission in there as the listing firm, just so it's there. And it's easier for the attorneys and title company to find it. They don't have to guess. So that was all set up. So here's the property seller disclosure. This is the standard New Jersey Realtor ones. You'll see some companies use their own, like Coldwell Banker by Us uses their own, Weichert uses their own. Weichert uses their own contracts, which drives me crazy. I don't think companies should be allowed to do that, because if every company did their own sales contract, we'd never be able to explain them to our buyers because we wouldn't understand them. So I think everyone should have to use the same contract, but that's just my opinion. So make sure that your buyer signs the contract and have it dated. Here's a lead-based paint booklet. I include that if the house was built before 1978. And then I just have them initial the last page. Last page. Initial. Initial. And then the escalation clause. If I was using this, I would have this filled out prior to uploading it, just because it's a pain in the butt to use the writable field to fill in every single field here, you know. So you could do that, but I just always have it filled out before I upload it. Then you just have the buyer sign it. Just make sure the names match everything. Here's the lead-based paint disclosure. It was filled out by the seller correctly. Now the purchaser would have to initial all pages. This is kind of you can make the boxes smaller by clicking in the bottom right corner and dragging them inward, and then all the boxes will be that size for the rest of the format. So then date signed. Agent. Then date signed. And that's my last document. So now I'll just use my arrow key and go back through and make sure I didn't put the buyer's name twice somewhere when I was adding my own. I forgot to check a box here, so I'm going to go ahead and receive the 10-day opportunity. I always just click that option. You know, it's not going to make or break a deal either way anyway, because going forward, some municipalities have been making, I know all rentals are going to have to require lead-based paint, a test done by the seller, but some municipalities are also requiring resales to have a lead-based paint certification. So that's changed. So make sure that if you're closing on stuff, you find out what the requirements are. So here I put the one of the purchasers twice. So I'm going to correct that. There we go. So that's all good. So again, I just go through and make sure I didn't put somebody twice. I've done it 5 million times. They send it and you're like, oh my God, I got to redo it. This is just the lead-based paint. And another little trick here too is if you only have one signer, it's super cool because you can just look here and you can say, okay, wherever that little pen mark is, that means that that page was completed. So I see here, oh, this is a seller's disclosure. I know that the seller disclosure only needs something in the last page, so it was signed here, so we're good. So that's a little quick trick if you have only one signer. I wish it would, like if you had 1 or 2 signer or 2 or 3 signers, I wish it would have the pen with a number 2 next to it or number 3. That means everybody signed it. So maybe that's something I can suggest to them. They're good about adding stuff. Here you can see I have the MLS sheet is that one. So I'm going to keep scroll through over here, make sure that I have both people sign it. Have all you guys used skyslope yet for signatures?
No, not me.
Not me
Okay.
either.
All right, cool. So I'm going to go through, I'll show you what it looks like when you receive a copy of it, so you kind of have an idea. Just make sure all this is signed. So prospective real estate buyer. So I didn't sign this as the buyer's agent, so we'll go ahead and add that. Change the name. Date signed. Now, let's say you're going through the lead-based paint and you notice, you know, you're the listing agent and your seller didn't sign it. You could have them, you could set them up as the first signer on this document where they're just signing the lead paint, or you could just remove it from the whole list and have them sign it and then resend it later. All right, so everything else is signed. So I'm just going to drag it to the top and be done with that. So I'm going to just go back because I don't want this buyer to get a copy of this. So I'm just going to go ahead and change this email address to myself. So they'll be like, what did you send me that contract again for? Okay. Did I do that right? Yeah, save. And now I'll hit next. I'm gonna go ahead and hit send. So because I used a template, this message populates automatically. So if you set up a template for the sales contract and you create a message, that message will populate automatically if it's part of the package. So please review the documents and sales contract, choose a signature style. I gotta correct this template. Click I agree and follow prompts to initial and sign where indicated. Please call me if you have any questions. Then I would put my number and then send for signatures. So since I prepared this, it's asking me as the agent that prepared this to sign it now. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to choose a signature style, click I agree, click on the start button, and then it just moves everywhere that you need to click. Now where you haven't signed it, you can just hit next and it'll go past it, or you can, yeah, you have to hit next. Now where it's a signature, you actually have to click on the box. Here I can go next. Then sign there. Hit next. Sign there. Then hit submit. Now I'll show you what it looks like when you receive it as the consumer. So Joseph Burris sent me a document. Please review the document and sales contract. Choose a signature style, click I agree, and follow prompts to initial and sign where indicated. Please call me if you have any questions. So they're going to click review and sign. So choose a signature style, click I agree. So you might get a consumer that says, oh, I want to read the contract. Well, this is where they can read it. They don't have to click start. They can just scroll through the whole document and read it if they want to read it, or you can go through it with them via Zoom. So I'm going to go ahead and click start. And then this is only for one buyer. So if you have a married couple, they use the same email address. You can put both names with the same email address. That's allowable. Just click everywhere that you need to sign. Now it's initials. You got to click on the initial everywhere. It basically takes them right to where they have to initial. So, I mean, they can read each page as they go if they wanted to, or most people just click away. Click on signature. My God, this is a lot of clicking. Oh, I'm not sure what this is. So that was a stray checkbox that got dropped on there somehow. So I'm going to skip one and I'll show you what happens when you do that. So I skipped that. I think this is the last page of the contract. So it won't let them finish. So if this just says next or it says continue, it won't finish. So complete signing, you should only submit this document if you are done signing. After you select submit, you'll no longer be able to make changes. So we're going to go ahead and hit submit. And then they can click on the sales contract here and it'll download a PDF version for them. Oops, didn't work. It's supposed to. Go back. So in DigiSign, what I like is you can go to your sent documents, and this is showing the sales contract. So Perry signed it. We're waiting for Miles to sign it. You can look at the history and you can see who opened it and signed it. So I could go through here and look and see that Miles didn't even open it. So you could say, hey, I sent your husband or wife a copy of the contract, and they can say, oh, well, we didn't get it. So if they didn't get it, you would go back and you would edit or resend envelope, and you could change their email address right here and then just click resend. Now, if somebody said, oh, my name is spelt wrong, or I want my middle initial in here, you would hit on correct envelope, and that would undo every signature and initial that was done that you added. So doing that, I'm going to go ahead and do that. It says warning, you'll be taken to the edit document page, which will require completed signers to re-sign document. Do you still want to continue? So you would hit yes. And then you would make the correction that you need to make. So I would go back again. Let's say their name was spelt wrong not in the embedded sales contract, but in what you're adding. Let's say I forgot to add an E here. I would correct it. I would hit edit recipient, add the E, hit save, and then it's done. Then I'd have to go next. And then I could hit send again, and then send for signatures. Here they can also make an edit. So if the name was spelt wrong and they noticed it before they sign, they can just go here and add an initial. And if they wanted it in there, they could do that. So that's all corrected for them. So you don't have to go back and edit the document. So if you send them, they say, hey, you spelled my name wrong. You can just say, when you get the initial choose your signature style, go ahead and make your correction there. And then just click I agree. I did select I agree. Let's see, and hit start. And you just go through and do that again. So I won't go through all that again, but that's how that's done. Anybody have any questions on the signing portion of it?
No,
So,
DocuSign has the same correct thing on there though for correcting the envelope, and I really appreciate that because I find after proofreading my contracts 50 times, just getting like 2 or 3, it's
Yeah,
always
yeah.
something like a checkbox or something. I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta correct it.
Yeah, and there's nothing worse when the listing agent says you missed this, you missed that, you didn't fill this in, so you really want to make sure that your contract is filled out, with not missing, simple thing. I represent the buyer, not the seller. It's like, I can't tell you how many times on the page of the contract where it asks about, who you represent, the buyer or seller, and it's not on here, it's not checked. And I'm like, all right, I guess I'll add it, so, but it's just simple things. So I'm going to go back to transactions now, and I'm going to show you guys some other shortcuts here. So we'll go to this one, I guess, since it's. So you guys have seen this checklist, so we have to upload all these documents to our checklist. So let's say the title company say, hey, could you just send me a copy of the contract? So after you've gotten your document in here, let's say it was a sales contract, but this is a residential lease. You wanted to email it to somebody, you just check the box and you click email. And you can send it to whoever you want to send it to right from here. You don't have to use a third-party software. So you can email documents right from here. Another great feature, I'm not sure if you guys have used it, is the if you have a full contract package. I'm going to go ahead and upload one here. Let's see. Documents, upload document. I'll go to my downloads. I can't find what I want to find. Let me go back to This might be good enough. Okay, so I'm not sure what this document is. I'll assume it's the whole contract package. So the consumer information statement, dual disclosed agency, the seller disclosure, lead-based paint. So if all those documents are one combined file, you just click, you upload them like I did, click on the split feature here. And it is, so it's 49 pages. So what I'm going to do here is assign each file. So page 1 and page 2 are the consumer information statement. And then I'm going to go to page 3. Oops, snap. Go back to my documents. Split. So page 1 and 2 are the consumer information statement, CIS. Page 3 was the informed consent to dual agency, so type in informed. And you got to make sure that you choose the right one. That should be listing document, selling document, so SD. So that's page 3. The pre-approval. So I guess it's proof of funds is what it's called. Oh, you know what? This is a rental, so I won't show it. But if this were a purchase not a rental, you would have an option to do the pre-approval. I think they probably call it application or NTN. So we'll pretend this is the pre-approval. And then a copy of the MLS sheet, it's only required for the listing side. And then the sales contract. So I would do lease agreement in this case, residential lease with window guard. So that's page 6 through, with wire fraud, 6 through 19. So page 6 through 19. All right, let's say I've uploaded everything. Lead-based paint was uploaded. I would hit split and assign. So once you do that, all the documents will end up, it goes through its process. And then I'm gonna go back. How do I get out of this? Just back, I hope. Yeah. So once you hit split and assign, all the documents would appear in the checklist. All the ones that we had chosen. And then the documents also, I'm going to go into here. This is probably correct. Checklist, no, documents. All the documents split themselves and are labeled the way they would be labeled in the skyslope file. So once you do that, they all split themselves and you can send off just the individual contract. You can send off, let's say, the FHA mandatory clause. They would all be split for you here. And then for those of you that haven't closed a deal yet, in the checklist is where you would find your commission disbursement authorization. I don't know why that's not in here. This is getting close to closing. You would find it here, and there would be a little paperclip, and you can click on it and open it. But if they have uploaded it for you, which they usually do about 2 weeks before closing, it would also appear in your documents tab. And it would say, I'm going to find another file where it would be. This one should be ready. Documents. Lead paint. It would look like this disbursement authorization form. And this is what you would send to your title company or your attorneys. I'm gonna go ahead and open that so you can see what it looks like. Actually, I'll click.
Foundation title sends our, EXP sends it to Foundation Title or something somehow, because I haven't yet had to send it to them.
Yeah, at the bottom here, it shows you where it was sent. So this was sent to our attorney, and he would forward it to Foundation Title. So it all depends on who you put in the transaction as the closing agent. So if you put a title company, yeah, they'll send it to the title company. We always put our attorney. I should probably start putting both so they do the work for me and I don't have to send it.
I haven't worked with an attorney yet on a deal like that, except for kill letters and stuff like that. Advice. It's great to have one in the back pocket, but for a deal, real quick, is it super different, or is it just like talking to the other agent?
When you're using an attorney?
Yes, sir.
So when you're using an attorney, anything that's in the contract, you've already negotiated. So the attorneys go through and they make modifications. So my attorney has a standard attorney review letter that he uses for the NJAR sales contract. So he makes his modifications, he sends them over to the buyer's attorney, they make their modifications, and then once attorney review is complete, we're considered under contract. So with you guys, because you use a title company, you're under contract in 3 days, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, so we might not be under contract for a week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks because of attorney review.
Okay. Well,
Yeah,
that makes sense, but do both parties have to be represented by an attorney if one chooses to, or can you just have the agent on the one side saying, okay, attorney on the other side, thank you for your, corrections or additions, what have you, and then be done? Or does that, what I mean?
The person who's not using an attorney would have to respond to the attorney review letters and say, yeah, that's fine, I agree, I guess. I've only had it happen once, where in 25 years that somebody refused to use an attorney on the other side, and she tried to represent herself. So she wrote her own review letter to his review letter, and it became a huge mess.
Oh man, all right. Well, I'm glad I asked.
Yeah, I mean, chances of it happening are pretty slim, I would think, but yeah, and I always just tell my client that, this is probably the hugest purchase you're going to make in your life. Why wouldn't you want to have an attorney represent your best interests?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, in that matter, when you do have one on one side, you kind of want to step up your game a little bit.
Yep. Yeah, especially if I'm a dual agent, I couldn't imagine not using an attorney because, when I sold my own listing, the seller was kind of, the seller didn't feel like she was being represented. She goes, I feel like I'm just left hanging here. I said, why? She goes, everybody's pushing me to get things done. I said, well, we have a date in the contract that we have to follow, and I'm just making sure that we follow those, that timeline. And, and I said, you do have an attorney and the buyer has an attorney, and they're not from the same firm, so they are representing your best interests. So yeah, I don't know what, have you guys had an issue with when you're representing both parties without using an attorney? I'm curious to see what that would be like.
So far, I didn't actually close the deal on dual yet, but I almost did. And that one was okay. I didn't really have, too many controversial questions or anything like that. It was probably a little bit more different with that because the buy side was an investor. So they were already used to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
In fact, they were taught to go to the listing agent, is what I was told, because it's better for them to do so. I said, okay, whatever floats your boat, I'm ready.
Perfect. Yeah. So it definitely can be challenging. But in a market where pretty much the buyer has to accept everything as is, then there's really not a lot of negotiation going on. It's not hard, but when you get to a market where the buyer and the seller are like, the buyer wants everything fixed, the seller doesn't want to fix anything, and they're going back and forth, And and you're a dual agent, it can be very stressful because then the seller's looking at you. You're getting paid, 6% on this deal. You can make up the difference. And you're like, oh Lord, no, that's not what we
my
agreed to.
God. Yeah, then I'll be like calling an attorney. Hey, could somebody handle this one?
Yeah. So, but those are, I mean, this market's, it's been, we haven't really had that in the last 3 years. So, but you're going to see it shifting a little bit here. So what I want to show you guys really quickly is how to set up a template, because I think that will help you, going forward. But a really great feature here, the support at skyslope is amazing. You just click on this little person with the headset at the top. Oops, I got to log back in. Click on the person with the headset. Back to skyslope.com. Log in. Skyslope Suite. So I don't know why it's doing this to me. Uh-oh. Wait, search Skyslope support. Where is it here? Award-winning 24-hour support, email response time, chat response time. So let's see if this works. Oh, chat. Down here, you just click on chat. Put in your name and your email address and type a message, and someone will get back to you immediately. They'll also have an option. Once you start this chat, please call me. If you want them to call you, they'll call you. And this is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So if you get stuck with something, they're really, really helpful. That's one of the things that really sold me on this. So I just want to share that with you. But it's a little chat feature at the bottom. So now I'm going to go back to DigiSign. Here is the, you have drafts, sent, completed, and templates. So if you've started a file and you haven't sent it, it'll be in your drafts. Once you send it with that message, it'll be in your sent. And once it's signed by all parties, it'll be here completed. You can tell that it was signed. But I'm going to go ahead and go to templates. And I'm going to go to new template. I'm going to do sales, sales contract with CIS. So I'm going to do those two documents together in one, because whenever I send a contract, I always send the consumer information statement. So, and here, the subject, this is what the consumer will see, sales contract. And then I'm going to go, let's see if I can find that verbiage so I don't have to retype it all. No, it's going to be too hard. Skyslope. So, hello. Choose signature style. Click I agree. Click start / next. Period. Click each shaded area to initial and sign initial or sign where indicated. And so let me see, upload document. So I'm going to go to that sales contract. Actually, I got to do something here. I have to combine these two first. Combine files. Oh, so these files are locked from from NJAR, so I'll have to unlock them at a later time and upload them and create this template for myself. So I'm just going to go ahead and upload the sales contract, make it simple here. Documents, downloads, sales contract with opinion 26. So I'm going to get rid of the CIS portion there. And this is what year are we in? September 2022. I just label them that way just because I have all those other templates in there and I want to make sure that I have the most current one. So I'm going to do select one. So we're going to do purchaser needs to sign, new signer, purchaser needs to sign, new role. We're going to do buyer's agent. Oh, it should be me. Okay, so me. Save. So I'm going to sign it first. The purchaser is going to sign second and third. Then who's going to receive a copy? You can set it up that the listing agent receives a copy. Somebody have a question?
I do. To put the CIS first in this, do we have to upload that first, or?
You know, I'm going to see if that works. Let me try that. Okay, well, hopefully this will work. Consumer information statement, sales contract. So that's all done. And that's all I'm going to upload for now. So I'm going to hit next. So here's the CIS. So I'm going to have the buyers sign, purchaser 1, purchaser 2. Obviously, you want to make sure that you don't have other clients' names in this document, so upload a blank one. So, oops, I put that in the wrong spot. So this is, so we'll go to purchasers, buyers. Okay, so that's done there. Date. So you would go through and have your signatures everywhere that you need them. Just click, change it to number 2. I always do date and time. The reason why I do date and time is I had a deal one time where one of the attorneys said in attorney review that all documents that are received must be received between 9 and 5 to count for that business day. And we went under contract at, let's say, 6 p.m. that day, and another offer came in. And because of that attorney review letter, we couldn't prove that our contract was in before 5 o'clock, and this was in the old days. So, so I always just kind of use the date and time stamp on my documents. So me, prepared by, we'll say me. And then you just go through and put your initials everywhere you want them. So this would be purchaser 1, purchaser 2. Or you can go through each page and just put, you know, purchaser 2 on every page and come back and do purchaser 1, whatever works better for your setting this up. When it turns blue, no big deal. You can just click, oops, outside, and then it'll fix that. This seems tedious, but once you get this set up, or like I said, if you log in and you see a template that works for the sales contract that we're using, you know, there should be one in there for you. But if you're trying to combine your template and have more than one document in it, you might have to set it up manually. It doesn't allow you to choose multiple templates for whatever reason. So now I'm going to do signature, buyer, buyer 1 and buyer 2, date and time, choose buyer 2. Now I'm going to go through initial again, buyer 1. And I forgot to do this last page, wire fraud. Okay,
I'm sorry for not paying attention about when you started editing the fields in the documents. I was still setting up my message and all. How did you get in your documents to edit them? Did you hit next on?
I'm not sure what you're asking about.
All right, that's
We can-
okay.
When I'm finished, maybe you can point it out here.
Thank you.
Or you can share your screen. We'll do that. So if you have, you know, you can set this up for more than 2 purchasers if you want to, and then when you choose the template, you can just remove 3 and 4. You know, so it depends. But I very rarely have more than 2 purchasers. But if you're working with a group, and you know, it might be nice to set up a template where you don't have to add any boxes. So I would set one up for 4. So that should be done. All right, so let's say this is done. Hit save. Create another? No, I'm gonna hit close. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do DigiSign. And I'm gonna choose new envelope. And then I'm gonna do no property. And I'm gonna upload my document. And upload another document. If this doesn't work, I'll go ahead and combine these 2 for you guys. Okay, so we'll go choose template, apply. Total number of pages in this template doesn't match number of pages in the document. So I'm going to just go back I'm going to go ahead and combine these two real quick. I got to print them. So to unlock a document, in this case, I think you guys all have access to, I'm going to go ahead and open, this is open already. So you guys all have access to this. So this is a consumer information statement. I'm going to just do file, print, then change my printer to Adobe PDF. Actually, I think I'm going to use the Microsoft to print PDF. Hit print. We'll call it, see, I'm saving this. You guys can't see this probably. I'm saving it as CIS in my downloads. And then I'm going to go to the sales contract. Go back to here. So once I get these combined, I'll show you what I'm doing here. Microsoft print to PDF. That's 15 pages. Contract. Save. Let's see here if I can. Okay, so now I'm going to organize pages. Oh, that one's locked, so find a new one and close this. Close all tabs. Okay, let me go back to my file. All right, let me share this real quick. All right, so I have these two files that I've printed to PDFs. These were locked by NJAR, so now I'm just going to combine them. So I'm going to go ahead and open with, I have a, if you use a reader, you can't do this, but if you subscribe to Adobe and you get other products, you can combine these files. So I'm going to just go over here. Where's the combine? Combine files. So I'm going to combine this and this. Now, how do I save them? Uh-oh. Okay. Sorry, Microsoft is fighting with me. All right. I'm gonna do organized pages, it's easier. Okay, that's that. Throw that away. Start over. No. All right, so open with Adobe Acrobat DC. Okay. Organize pages. I'm going to insert from file. Okay, so now these are all, let's say this is my contract in CIS. CIS and contract, save. And it seems like a lot of work, but you know, if you write a lot of contracts, it'll save you time in the long run. All right, now I'm gonna go back and share my other screen. So I'm gonna upload a new document. And then check these two so they're not confused. So now I'm going to choose the template that we created, September, apply, done. Now hit next. Okay, so I'm going to go new envelope, no property. Gonna upload a document. Go to my training folder. Choose template, apply, hit done, go to next. So drag Joe first. I'll add Jennifer again. And we'll go to, I'll add myself. Okay, it worked. You guys see it?
Yeah.
Okay, so the signatures appeared where they're supposed to on that page. The dates where it's supposed to be. Signatures are where they're supposed to be on this page.
And what did they say your issue was?
They weren't sure. She couldn't, she didn't have an issue on her end. She was able to go through.
Oh,
So I think it's maybe because I had 2 other documents uploaded previously in that same envelope. But since I unchecked them, it shouldn't have made a difference, but maybe it did. But you can see here, Colleen, they're all pretty much where I put them. They're all on the line.
Mhm.
So the only thing I'm going to do is I'm going to edit the template on my future ones and drag these 2 buyer signatures up 2 more lines because they're on the bottom 2 lines. So I'm going to go through and correct that template. And that's it. So now when I hit send, here's the message that I created in the template, and it just says sales contract. So you can just go ahead and add whatever property it's for after that, and then hit send. Colleen, did you need to share your screen with me with anything?
No, I actually figured it out. Thank you. Where I messed up was I didn't answer the questions about the first, second, and all signers. I didn't do that because I should have seen the little red X's. And then once I did that, I was able to click next and start putting my fields in there and everything. So I like this. I like this a lot. I'm excited because then I can kick DocuSign to the curb.
Yeah, I mean, you're paying for this, and you have to use it anyway for your files to get paid. So why not just use everything all at once? And like I said, if you need to If you need to email, you can do it right from here. You know, the documents are safe for you forever, you know, as long as you were with EXP, and after if you ever leave, then it would be, they're still here, you know, so they keep the files forever. You can also, if you do create a file, I'm going to go back to transactions. We'll go to Park Avenue. So documents. You can upload photos in here if you wanted to, and other things. So, you know, you can store lots of stuff in here. Even if you don't attach it to the checklist,
Uh-huh.
like if there's certain things that you have a consumer sign and it's not part of the checklist, you can still upload it in here and save it, so you don't have to have it saved somewhere else.
I love that because, you know, with the whole having to keep documents for 7 to 10 years or whatever it is, I try to keep them at least 7 because I never know. Anyway, the digital ones, it makes it easier. So I'm like totally sold on this. And the cool thing is, well, actually, I'm going to ask you, so we can upload photos. They might have us turn it into a PDF for skyslope for some things, but what's cool, you told me that now I can actually take a photo of some of the agent view MLS stuff, because Bright, it's super hard to get the Bright agent view.
Mm-hmm.
South Jersey Shore MLS, it's easy. I can email it to myself, but I can't email it to myself off Bright. So this way I could just take a photo, you know, of my view on there and just upload it onto skyslope. So
Here's another great tool too. Every single file that you create in skyslope has a dedicated email address. So if you have documents that you want to email into this, as opposed to downloading, uploading, you can just use the email address for the file and forward them here, and then they all appear. Anything that you email will appear in the documents tab.
I love that. And I saw when I was opening it finally during the call, that had this little ad thing about mobile version documents being easy to read and all. So I'm like, wow, like if that's so awesome, like that would be great on the go. Sitting in closing, I can just do whatever I need to do. Before I was emailing the documents, you know, to that email address at closing, but I wasn't taking advantage of the fact that I can have this on my phone. Like, why not have the app on here?
Another great, I don't use the app, I just go log into Chrome, and like my attorneys called me, he said, oh, I need the seller to sign this review letter so we can get out a review. And I'm like, shit. I'm like, you know, because I know I can do it on my laptop really quickly. I'm like, all right, I'll try it on my phone. I did it on my phone, and it was, you know, if it's only a couple signatures, it's super easy. So I just did it right from my phone, and boom, it was done. So, you know, it's a nice option. So yeah, you can try the mobile if that works for you, but I just use my Chrome browser on my Android, and it worked fine.
Thank you for sharing that.
All right, do you guys have any other questions about anything?
I have a question.
Yep.
Okay, so I think I'm ready to do my own open house.
Yes.
I want to do one because I've been to a couple and I've seen how they work. How do I figure out during like going through KB Core which listings are our agency listings?
So the best way for you to do an open house is, I'm going to go ahead and log into Workplace. And if we have any, of course, you can do them. Joe just went on a listing appointment. I have one coming up as well. So, but we haven't had any listings in a while, and it's kind of weird. So see this New Jersey listings and open houses? You can just go in there and say, hello, I would love to do an open house in Union or Somerset County. You know, Middlesex, Union, or Somerset. You don't have access to Middlesex County lock boxes, so you should probably do Union or Somerset County. Or you can look in here and just see if somebody posted that they need a open house covered.
Is that a group I need permission? I need to be added to that group?
I'm gonna make sure you can add yourself automatically. Let's see if I can invite you to it. Add members.
Me too.
Okay. I think you are a member already.
New Jersey listings and open houses, John?
Yep.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Can just see something here. Oh, I can share invitation link. All right, so I can copy this and share it here. You can also post it on the New Jersey State group too, but I would probably just post it in New Jersey listings and open houses.
And just ask whether or not anyone needs anyone to
Yeah,
host.
just say anyone need an open house covered this weekend. I'm available Saturday or Sunday, whatever day you're available. And yep, definitely do it.
And you said which other group was that?
New Jersey State group and then New Jersey listings and open houses.
I think I'm already in New Jersey State group, right?
Yeah, you should be automatically.
Okay.
Yep. Any other questions, guys?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Yeah, Aria, let me know if you do get a you know, an open house set up, and I'll make sure we'll go over all the stuff that you should bring with you.
Okay, for sure.
Yep. All right, guys, have a great week.
You too.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
Bye.